So today I want to talk about Fana. So let's read the Arabic meaning for Fana: passing away, ceasing to exist, or annihilation, the complete denial of self and the realization of God. That is one of the steps taken by the Muslim Sufi towards the achievement of union with God. Fana may be attained by constant meditation and by contemplation on the attributes of God, coupled with the denunciation of human attributes. When the Sufi succeeds in purifying himself entirely of the earthly world and loses himself in the love of God, it is said that he has attained his individual will and passed away from his own existence to live only with God. So I think that this probably comes from the concept nirvana, right? We'll read it here. Right, it is the union and the realization of the identity of the Atman, which means self, and the Brahman, which is like the greater self. But the same way, right? The denial of the self and the realization of God. And even if you look at the word here, right, the verbal root vana means blown, right, and blown out or extinguished, right. The word vana here is very similar to fana, right, ceasing to exist, passing away, annihilation, which is basically the same thing as extinguished. Uh, I think this originates with what's his name, Junaid of Baghdad, right? And this is a book about Junaid. And if you don't know Junaid, we could look at his page real quick just to give you a summary of him. Right. 830, 810, right? He's one of the central figures of Sufism. He's one of the earliest Sufis. Um, and he mentions the term Fana. Oops. Right. Contemplation or meditation, maybe, leads to Fana. All right. Experienced Fana do not subsist in the state of selfless absorption in God, but find themselves returned to their senses by God. And if you go here, it's going to describe Fana. The discussion of Fana, or the annihilation of self, among the Sufis emerged in the 3rd or 4th centuries of the Hijra. Therefore, to understand better about Fana, we should study the Sufis from that period. Right? And it mentions Bujunaid. Etymologically, al-Fana comes from this word, which means destroyed, perish, annihilated. Right? And disappeared. Right? Annihilation of immoralities. That's one way. This guy, Saraj, describes Fana as this distinguishing of men's desires and the permanent obedience towards God's will. Al-Qusayri defines Fana as the annihilation of moralities and the birth of moral virtues. Also explains Fana as the annihilation of everything except God. Thus, a Sufi no longer witnesses anything except one, God. He will no longer see him. Right, you get the point. Fana. Pretty important concept in early Sufism. I think it probably comes from this nirvana, because in Baghdad you had a few of these people. Right. Uh, the closest thing we could find to that in the Quran or Hadiths is somebody asked, "What is ihsan?" Ihsan really just means like to do something better, right, at a higher level, right? Perfection or benevolence. The Prophet said, "Ihsan is to worship Allah as if you see Him," right? And so, what Abdul Qadir Jalani, right? This is like, even though it says fand, it really means fana, the elation of self, the state of nothingness. So he explains that. Let's find it real quick before. So basically, what he says is the vision of Allah is two kinds. One is seeing the manifestation of Allah's attribute of perfect beauty directly in the hereafter. The other is seeing the manifestation of the divine attributes reflected upon the clear mirror of the pure heart, right? And it says it is seen by the eyes of the essence of the heart. And it says Allah describes the vision seen by the heart of the eye. The heart did not deny what it saw, right? So there's a vision of the heart. So it's probably when it says you worship Allah as if you see Him. Maybe you see Him with your heart, right? If you do not achieve this state of devotion, then take it for granted that Allah sees you, right? And we keep going. Let's see what else it says. Right? My heart saw my Lord by the light of my Lord, right? There's more to it. 1 second. Here's another verse which is evidence of the vision of the heart. It is not the blindness of the eyes in one's head, but the blindness of the eyes of one's heart that will prevent one from seeing the light of the hereafter. As Allah says, for surely it is not their eyes that are blind, but their hearts which are in their breasts. Right? And you get the point. So, yeah. So, although it might come from here, there is some concept of it in Islam, right? To worship Allah as if you see Him. And if you do not achieve this state of devotion, right? So it implies that this state of mind exists, right? And over here it says, "Indeed, man was created anxious." And then the next one, and evil touches him impatient. Wait, except the observers of prayer, right? Ila al Musalin, and some people actually, I think, yeah, it was Hamza Yusuf who said this doesn't actually mean the people who pray, like, for 5 times a day. It means people who are in a constant state of prayer, right? I think there was, I think that's what Muhammad Assad translated as. Like, your prayer is kind of like, let me find that 1 sec. Yeah, so I found this. The primary meaning of sal means connect or link, right? So some people, so Hamza Yusuf's understanding of it, meaning to connect with Allah, right, is not uh, incorrect here. Yeah, I think that's about it.